Quilty is brought to you by APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Clothworks, inspiring creativity with art on fabric. Hovels Sewing, when you need to cut it close, choose Hovels. B&B, our fabrics, your lifestyle. Quiltology, the urban quilt space.
Quilty.
Today, Quilty is on location. This is part one of a three-part series on longarm quilting. Let's take a look at what longarming is with some special guests. So welcome everybody. I'd like to introduce my guests today. On my right, I have Ebony Love. Welcome, Ebony.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Robbie Ecklow is to my
Hi.
left. Welcome, Robbie. So first of all, Ebony, tell me a little bit about how long you've been quilting and how long you've been longarming.
So I've been quilting for probably about 10 years. I started out making evening gowns when I first started sewing, and then I had all of these really neat, funky scraps, and I wanted to know what to do with them, so I started getting into quilting. Awesome. And then for longarming, I actually started in October. Awesome. So less than a year working on the longarm frame, but I love it.
And you're already like professionally doing it,
yeah?
Sweet. And Robbie,
That's
how about
impressive.
You? Yeah.
I've been quilting since 1976 with a second revival.
That's right. The bicentennial
Yeah.
of the country. It was a huge quilt revival.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. That's when my mom started. A lot of quilters started back
Yeah.
then. Yeah. All right. So what is the difference between a long arm machine and a typical like at-home sewing machine? Robbie?
Well, the at-home sewing machine, the machine stays where it is and you move the quilt around.
Right.
And on a long arm, the quilt stays where it is and the machine moves around on rails.
Right. So like this is this arm. I mean, that's the arm in the long arm, and you move that around with those
Right
handles,
here.
right? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It's so cool. It's huge. It's so much bigger than the typical sewing machine.
It is, and you can do a king-size quilt on the rails.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like driving a little motorcycle.
It is. It's like my own little machine.
Yeah, it's like a convertible. If a sewing machine was like a car, a long arm. Well, long arm would be like a semi truck.
Yeah.
But it'd be it'd be like a semi that moves like a convertible.
Yeah, it'd be one that's all tricked out.
Yeah, totally.
It'd be on that show, where they take cars and they do stuff.
Pimp my ride.
Yeah.
My ride, exactly. Pimp my sewing machine. You actually have yours kind of pimped out. 'Cause
I do,
You've
yeah.
got like Hayden Fry on the side, which we'll show when you do the demo.
And the other thing that's really great about this is the machine is on a frame that's about 12 feet long.
Huge.
So it's really huge. But what's great about it is you can do really large quilts without struggling to shove it into
I
the
forgot
small
that. Yeah, that's
space of
the
a
main
domestic
thing.
machine.
Yeah.
Right. My mom always says that you can get your quilt top quilted 3 different ways. You can quilt it by hand, you can quilt it by machine on your sewing machine at home, or you can quilt by check. Because long-arm quilters, a lot of long-arm quilters, not all of them, but a lot of them work professionally as long-armers, and you send your quilt top to them. They put it on the frame with the batting and the backing, and they quilt it for you on this machine. So when you talk about a long-arm quilter or long-arm quilting, if somebody says, I need to ship my quilt tops off to my long-armer, what they mean is they want to ship their quilts or give their quilts to their long-arm quilter, who then puts it on this frame and quilts it. Is that about right?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So this machine, you said it's 12 feet. Tell me more about, like, there's a needle, obviously. I mean, if you've never seen a long arm machine before, what would you say to somebody? Ebony, you want to?
So there's the best thing that I could do is really just contrast it with a home machine. So the needles are different. These are actually industrial machines. So we use industrial needles for long arming. The bobbins can be different than a traditional machine. The machine that I use has a very large bobbin that's about, about that big.
Wow.
Mine uses domestic.
Okay.
So, in fact, I already had a stash of 200 bobbins
Oh, wow.
that fit.
So machines
On
are
this.
different. There's not just like one machine, right? There's different models
There's
and different
different,
ways.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And every long armor will choose a machine that's right for them, and for the types of things that they want to do. The other thing that's different, we use different thread. So the thread that you use for piecing is typically not great for long arm quilting because the machine moves at such a fast rate. You really need a thread that's going to hold up to
Right.
that movement.
And so these big moving parts and this different kind of needle, different kind of thread, Robbie, can you speak to like how long it takes for you to get good at this? I mean, this is not something anybody can just do. You've been long arming for quite some time, right? To get good at it.
Well, I had been machine quilting on a domestic machine, and It didn't, for me, it didn't take that long. The first quilt that I quilted on this machine actually won a Rookie of the Year award at a long-arming thing. Now they're pickier, so I don't think that same quilt would have won. But it's the same motion that you use on a domestic machine. You're doing this, and you're moving your quilt around.
You
like
move
that.
the quilt,
right?
in your
And
machine.
on the long arm, you're doing like this and moving it around.
With,
so it's
with
really
that, with the handles. With the handles, right? So you're moving the machine instead of, like you said, moving
but
the
it's
quilt.
still the same. You're using the same muscles,
Right.
and so it's very similar.
Right.
So it doesn't take that long for what I do, because I'm not marking it and I'm doing small motifs.
And that's something to say too, is that long arm machine quilting can be very, very intricate. We have quilts behind us right now. This is Robbie's quilt, and that's Ebony's quilt. And as you can see, anytime a quilt's been long armed, if you look at the quilting, you can see that some of the designs are incredibly intricate and small. Some of them are bigger, just like a quilt can be pieced with a zillion pieces or just a few. And one thing that's good to know as we go into these next episodes, looking at how it works and then also how to work with a long armor, is look at quilts, see the kind of quilting that you like, and remember what to tell your long armor when you have a quilt top ready to be quilted. You can say, I really like how, a lot of stitches per square inch, or I like it a little bit looser. I guess we'll get to it, but how much is a machine like this right now for purchase,
Well, you can get set up for somewhere around $5,000 at the low end, and at the upper end of the range, you could spend upwards of $30,000.
Wow, that is
I think that would be one that with
Those are
a computer,
computerized.
yeah,
Ah.
because you can design your quilting and have the computer do it. This one, I'm gonna guess. I haven't been shopping lately. I would guess between 15 and 18,000 for the machine, because this is the top of the line. Mine is older, and so they've changed some of the things.
I have one quick question. So that's a good idea of the ballpark price, but you just said that on the higher end machines, a computer does it. That means, are you saying that like you could program what you want quilted on your top, put it on the frame, hit a button, and it does it?
Yes. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
No, but for the 18,000, you don't get that.
Right. But for this high end price
Yeah.
range,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable. I mean, wow, technology.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind
It
of
probably hooks up to the internet, right?
Yeah. Well, and you can draw your own designs on the computer. So you can draw your own quilting designs on the computer, load it onto a little flash drive, and
So I could like get a picture of my dog, put it in the computer, do the stuff, and it would just put my dog. on
yeah.
the quilt.
Well, you have to draw it so it.
And I'd
knows
have to
where the
I'd have to
lines
get a
are,
dog. I don't have one.
Yeah, you'd have to get a dog.
That'd be the hard part.
It's incredible. People
Yeah.
think quilters are like old fashioned. We're the most early adapter people. I mean, we have our iPads out. You were talking about your iPad. We got these. It's like things have changed, people. Get with the times. Get with the program. So join us on our next episode when we talk more about how this actually works and we get some demos going. And thanks to you both, and we'll see you soon.
Quilty is brought to you by APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Clothworks, inspiring creativity with art on fabric. Hovels Sewing, when you need to cut it close, choose Hovels. B&B, our fabrics, your lifestyle. Quiltology, the urban quilt space.